The underdog. The long shot. The nobody from nowhere, never gonna happen 100 to 1 shot. We know something about that. We're with you every step of the way.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's Thursday 30. I'm Matt Stradley here with the Jet John Williams, and we are graced by two new assistant coaches for the women's basketball team. We have Coach Dee Anderson and Coach Jessica Wall. Thank you so much for being here, and boy, am I excited to talk basketball today.
Thanks for having us. We're excited to talk about some basketball too.
Exactly.
John, these some familiar faces, yeah?
Oh yeah. I've actually done some research on Coach Anderson. Followed her a little bit, and I've seen her before during her playing days. But then also, obviously, you and we've called Jessica Wall for what, 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
and so that was fun. That was fun because we knew that defenses had to play UNC Asheville honest because of her ability to spread the floor. So it's good to have both of you guys on, and I appreciate you guys and what you guys are doing for the Bulldog program.
Thank you.
Coach Anderson, was it a surprise with when Coach Brown became the women's head coach that you were one of the top of mind picks to bring onto Stafford? Did you knew that relationship was there and you were ready to come on?
Well, I was definitely surprised. I was talking about it for the last year because last year I had the opportunity to come to a practice, and I raved about this practice to everybody because of the amount of energy from the players, the coaches. Just I loved everything about it, the family aspect that you could see through practice. So it was definitely a place where I wanted to be. And as soon as Coach Brown called me and offered me, it was kind of a no-brainer because this is everything that I could have hoped for in my first coaching job.
Now, Coach Anderson, I've got the opportunity to talk to some of your players already, and they are super excited about having you on. But they also talked about how they think that you are going to be one of the guard coaches.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes.
And so it was Nadiria. Nadiria was like, I didn't think she was built like that. I was like, I think she is. And so she got real excited about it. And so she was just like, I think she's a big guard. And so I wanted to know if that was true, if you were going to be one of the ones working with all the guards. And how tall are you? About 6 foot, 6'1"?
I wish. I'm only like 5'10" on a good day.
On a good day.
On a good day, yeah.
I got you.
But yeah, I'm very excited to work with the guards this season. I'll be bouncing back and forth a little bit with the posts as well, just because my last year at Clemson, I actually got the opportunity to work with the posts under Shimmy Gray-Miller, great post coach. So I also got to learn from her, but mainly I'll be working with the guards, and I'm super excited to work with Dee and AC and Tamia, Malia, just excited to get on the court and finally put in some work with them.
Jessica, you're going to show off your low post moves, right? You're going to.
Of course.
I don't think we saw Jess at the free throw line much. She won't go into that jungle like that, but she don't have to.
When you got to struggle like that, you don't have to, John.
Yeah, no.
So Jessica, if you could pick out any one attribute that you would give to every guard on this program, what would it be?
I mean, of course, the ability to shoot. I mean, you can't really pass that one up. But I think the biggest thing I would say is just the ability to play through any situation, and just like composure, pretty much. Because like over my 4 years, I've been in plenty of different situations. Down, have to come back, up, have to fight with the other team as they're trying to come back and stuff like that. So I would just probably say composure and, from first quarter, fourth quarter, having that same level, bringing it the whole game.
Now, Jess, you also have won 2 Big South Conference championships with your team. And so you understand the ebbs and flow of what it takes to go through those tough times. And so I could imagine that you're going to be able to share a lot of your stories, and not just being able to deal with leads and maintaining leads, but also just, injuries. You're going to have kids go down, and also just grades. There's all types of changes that can happen throughout the season, and you have to be able to adapt to that. And so being able to show how flexible, how elastic your team is to be able to maintain an entire season, because you've seen it before where the talented teams, the most talented teams, don't always win the championship. I was actually part of one of those more lesser talented teams that ended up winning a championship, but because we were grittier. Right. And you've been a part of one of those teams too. There was one team where I was just like, did they just win it? And then there was another team I was just like, well, yeah, you're supposed to win it. And right. So there's pressure between both of those, where you're supposed to win it and maintaining that type of level, and then also being an underdog and fighting and having that chip on your shoulder and winning championships as well. So you're going to be able to give them both, sharing that knowledge, and that's going to be fun to see.
Yeah, and pretty much like you hit it on the head with my freshman year, we were predicted to finish 8th, and that year we had one of the best seasons we've ever had here, and we won conference tournament championship as well as regular season champions. And like you said, it was just grit, and who was going to show up to work. We all bought in, and we made it happen. And then the following year, we were predicted to finish 1st, and we had a lot of adversity. We had a lot of starters go down with injuries. A lot of people who were playing big minutes for us go down with injuries. But we still found a way to get it done. We fell down in the league. We weren't really where we wanted to be, but, when it came time to make things happen, we were able to get it done. So, just being ready for everything, like you said, and just we've seen a little bit of everything. So I can definitely help them out with that stuff.
D, you start your new job in a completely different world than the last season started under. How difficult is it to do things like recruiting and just your general coaching duties in a time that we're living through right now?
It's definitely harder. To have to FaceTime our players and keep up with them and get to know them through a phone screen is something that's been very hard for me, just because I'm a big relationship person. So I like to see them. I like them to see me. I like to have face-to-face conversations. So from that aspect, just getting to know our players has been really difficult, but also recruiting. Everything is live streamed right now. So, and this is my first legit recruiting time. This is the first time I've been able to actually recruit in it, So it's been hard because you're trying to see players and see what they can bring to our program, if there's somebody we would like to bring into our program, and you don't really get to see the full game aspect. Also, little things like you don't know their number, you don't know what kid is, trying to get just things like that. That's definitely been one of the hardest parts with recruiting. Obviously, we can't have official visits on campus, so also tons of Zooms with kids, trying to teach them as much as we can about our university and the great things we have to offer through a Zoom. It's once again trying to build a relationship with somebody and not really being able to, because you don't have that face-to-face interaction. So definitely the hardest part about everything is just the interaction with somebody, really, really getting to know them, and them really, really being able to know you. Yeah.
So you guys, like you just talked about, like being able to watch things and live stream things, it's gotta be difficult to really, make a judgment on just watching a video, because there's so many other nuances to come down with it. I'm sure some of the stuff that you guys are watching, it could be distorted sometimes, you just don't know, but still trying to make a good judgment call, but you're not seeing the stuff that you normally see in a tournament, or that eye test that you get to see. Okay, I'm 5'10", like you said, or close to it, and now you got to really be like, are you really 6'1", or are you this? Because now the film's telling you that. And then obviously, I'm telling you, I'm a big fan of body language. I can't really see how you look when you go to that huddle after you've missed a few layups, because coaches love to see how players look when the chips are down. How are you going to respond? Because in college basketball, there is always going to be adversity, and it doesn't have to be the most talented person, but the person that can get through that once all the chips are down, and once who's going to raise from those ashes. And so that's one of those key aspects. I was talking to a college coach recently about that. One of the key aspects that they are missing when it comes to this virtual recruiting, which is seeing how these players are able to respond to difficult situations, which is college sports in a nutshell. So, yeah, it's going to be tough. I get it.
Really tough.
Yeah.
Really tough.
Jessica, let me ask you this. You, Coach Anderson, and then you got Coach Love, who we're missing today. How do you three kind of gel? How do you get along?
Well,
you better say good.
I know.
Right.
No, but obviously me and Coach Page, we played together for 1 year. So when I was a freshman, she was actually a senior. So we were on that championship team together. So have a lot of history with her. Love working with her. She definitely knows how to challenge you. So I'm excited about that for the girls, as well as myself, just, in starting, getting a foot in the door and coaching and, what it's like. Excited for her to be able to push me in that way, because I remember my first day of practice with Paige, and, I'm not the most talkative person, as most of you probably know, but, day one in practice, I don't even think the coaches were there, and Paige was like, Jess, you got to talk. And she held me accountable from day one. So I know that she'll push me and the girls. And then me and Coach D are obviously getting to know each other. But we've been fine so far. We've been working on some things together. And it's been going really smooth. So I'm enjoying it so far, and I know it'll only get better from here.
Yeah, I've loved working with Paige and Jessica so far, just because they built this. So to have two people who have been through it, know what it's like as a student athlete, and are now back, I'm excited to work with them, because they literally put their blood, sweat, and tears into this. So to have two people who were a part of the beginning now helping us maintain that, it's just something that I value, and I just as much as they value it, I want to value it. So I want to know everything that I can. And obviously Coach Love, was a coach 2 years before I was. So she's doing a great job of helping me find my way. Even through COVID time, she's helping me find my way through everything. So I'm really, really appreciative of her, and excited to keep working with her for this season, and hopefully next few seasons.
Now, Coach Anderson, you are a Florida product, correct?
I am, yes, sir.
All right. It's hot out there.
It's hot.
Yeah. Okay. So you've been to Asheville before, I'm obviously, but are you prepared for these winters that you're about to see?
I'm prepared, and oddly enough, I'm excited, because even though I'm from Florida, when I was in Gainesville, yeah, it got cold, but it wasn't anything like this. The last 2 years, obviously, I was in South Carolina and Clemson, so a little bit of snow, nothing really.
Yeah.
A little bit of snow, nothing really. I haven't dealt with Asheville storms, but I'm excited to have the full round of seasons. I'm very excited.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and let you know it gets cold. Like when you walk outside, sometimes it can cut your skin cold if you don't have lotion on. And I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina. Jess, you're from Chapel Hill, right?
Yeah, and I can definitely second that about the cut your skin. Not a joke.
Yeah, like we're from the East, so we get different types of sunlight. But when you first make that transition over here, you got to make sure you got you some warm clothes on you, okay? Because it gets really, really brick out here.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure you're prepared for this madness.
Last Christmas, I got 3 heavy coats.
Outstanding.
So I'm prepared from that aspect.
Could I ask a follow-up question about the different types of sunlight that the East is getting? Is it duration? Is it just intensity? Is it just I want to know how it's different. As somebody who I lived most of my life out here in the western part of the state, and I did go east, and I melted a lot, so I came back.
Yeah. So obviously, when I lived in Raleigh, and my mountain friends would come and visit me in Raleigh, and once you get used to that kind of weather, you don't have to actually drive with the AC on. You can just put the window down, and you are not going to sweat at all. Okay, you're going to be fine because you're used to that type of climate. But my mountain friends, when they would come in, the windows are down, that's not enough for them. We might be going somewhere nice to the mall, and they've sweated out their nice shirt.
Yep.
And so, you've got to be mindful of, where people are coming from, because they're not used to that type of climate. Now that I've lived up here for a long time, when I go to Raleigh, it's the exact same thing, where I've got to talk to my sister and say, hey, roll up the window and cut the AC on because I'm dying over here. And then she'll call me soft or something. But when she comes up to the mountains or whatever, she can't handle a 60-degree night. She's not built for that anymore. So you see what I'm saying? So you just have to adjust.
You could tell when the Raleigh folk come up to the mountains, when it hits 60, it looks like a North Face commercial.
They brought, when they came up for the 4th of July, they brought sweaters and pants, and I'm like, what are y'all doing? They're like, it's cold out here. I'm just like, no, it's not. It's just regular.
Coach D, we're not scaring you too much, are we?
No, not at all. Not at all.
John, we had Coach Brown on, and she talked about the way she wants to play. And I'm curious to find out how Coach Jessica and Coach D feel about that, the way that Coach Brown wants to play, and I think it kind of fits into both of your playing styles, honestly.
Yeah. Listen, I think Jessica, when I heard Coach Brown say, we want to shoot that ball, I was like, when I saw that they brought in Jessica Wall, I was just like, that makes sense. Okay, cool. Because guess what? There could be shooting competitions all the time where you got to beat coach. And most of the time, coaches are interactive in practices. And so I could see Jessica getting in a few, Spitfire competitions with a couple of those players and beating them pretty bad until they start beating her. And then either way, everybody's getting better at that point. So, yeah, I see it happening.
And what do you do, John, if once you have that floor space, Jessica's got those guards knocking down that long range, what's part 2 of that plan?
Nadiria Evans.
Yeah.
She can get downhill with the best of them. Her blow by is uncanny, especially in the Big South. When she gets downhill, because of her athleticism and her ability to get off the ground so quickly, it just makes her straight line drives that much more easier because you have players that can spread the floor. This past year was one of those years where you saw that they were missing a Jessica Wall, somebody that could spread the floor, shoot the ball. They played more internally with the post play and then their ability to get paint touches. And I think that we're still going to want to get those paint touches, but the paint touches are going to be a lot more easier. The post-ups are going to be a lot more easier because of the ability and the focus on spreading the floor by having the shooting available. So I think it's going to be fun to watch this year.
Does that sound about with the direction y'all are heading?
Yeah, John hit it right on the head. We obviously want to be able to shoot the ball and spread the floor. Our post play will be a little young this year, just because we have Raquel coming in, who's a transfer. We'll have Amanda Blake, who's a and Abigail. So we're really young from post play position. So they have a lot to prove, coming into their freshman year, making sure that we actually can get the ball inside and score it. But as far as spreading the floor, you hit it on the head. Nadiria is a great option to have when we have shooters, because they're going to spread out. She's going to blow right past them. Malia has a very quick first step. She also has the ability to shoot the pull-up. So because we have all these different options, there's a lot of things that we can do, and we're really excited to start working and start seeing all of that come together.
And Coach Wall, you've seen some of these players. You played with some of these players, I think. Didn't you play with Nadiria? Who's somebody that when you got to see how they play, you're like, ooh, this is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to working with this person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I did play with all three of the seniors, Nadiria, Tamia, and Amira. And so I guess based off of last year when I, tune in and watch some of the games, it's quite a few of them, honestly. I know Summer and Malia weren't able to play last year, but I have seen a few of their workouts actually last summer when they were coming in, and just their size and their ability to, do different things. They can get to the rim, they have good shots. I think that now that they'll be able to get back on the court, I think those two will be exciting. And then Faith as a point guard, of course, gotta love my point guards. I think she'll be exciting to watch too. She has a good feel for the game. Of course, I'm always cheering for the seniors. I'm excited to be here for their senior year and seeing what they can do. I've seen them develop over their time here, so that's been really fun to watch. And then I know we have a very talented freshman class coming in, so I know they will be good. But I'm really excited for that sophomore class. I know that they have some pretty good talent in there. And I know the coaching staff does a good job of developing players into, even more than they think that they can be. So I'm excited to see how they will do over the next couple of years.
John, I love talking about the players that make that off-season jump. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When did yours was it freshman to sophomore year?
It was my sophomore. No, yeah, it was my freshman to sophomore year when I made that jump, because I was actually sixth man my freshman year, and so when I came back, and it was, the senior that was in my position that I was sharing minutes with when he had graduated and taught me a ton. It was my time. I wasn't on anybody's scouting reports really like that. And so you weren't able to see, it was a different role that Coach B and Coach McDevitt had asked me to play in. So I worked my tail off to make sure that I was able to play in that role. It would definitely be that sophomore or that freshman to sophomore jump. But yeah, everybody has it. I'm looking forward to seeing, and I've seen other players who've made that junior to senior year jump.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think that you're going to get a lot out of Amira Corpening from her junior to senior jump because of what's going to be asked of her. She's always been capable of doing it. And we started to see a little speckle of it this year with just her ability to score it, more than just the three. She was able to get all the way to the basket. She started to show us that one dribble pull up, the three ball, and she started to shoot more as the season progressed, which we were talking about was that piece that was needed. And you saw how the team was starting to gel going in the tournament play, which is, it's normal for UNC Asheville women's basketball to just start peaking at the right time, which is how you've been able to see the amount of success. It's it's not always about the X's and O's, but it's also about the motivation and getting them ready at the right time to peak at the right time, while other people may be starting to deteriorate a little bit or to fall a little bit while they are reaching their peak at that right point. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I think that I think Amir is going to give you something that's going to be very, very impressive that a lot of folks aren't expecting, but also Jessica Wall, what she talked about with Adams, Faith. She showed us some stuff, and you could definitely tell there was a spark there. I mean, her ability to facilitate, spread the floor too, because she can shoot it, but she also starts to break. So I can see UNC Asheville getting out in the open floor as well. Once they get the rebound, getting out and going and filling those lanes and getting quick shots before the defense gets set, things of that nature. I think it's going to be impressive to watch. And so I don't just think it's going to be one person. I think it's going to be a few of them that are going to make jumps that scout. Like if you go off the scouting report from last year, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to hone in on that because of the new changes that have happened this season.
Mm-hmm.
Coach D, I saw your eyes light up when John started talking about Corpening.
Yeah.
So you think she's definitely one of the ones that's going to be making that jump?
Yes, for sure. AC has done it since COVID happened and they were home. AC has been working hard. She wants to have a great senior year. It's in the way that she talks about it. It's in the way that she shows herself. We're just so excited for her senior year, the type of leadership she's going to bring for us on and off the court. She's just ready to get after it. And I'm excited to work with her finally. I'm excited to see what she's going to bring to this team this year.
Jessica, who's one of the rising sophomores or juniors who's capable of making the jump that we haven't talked about yet? Now, I know everybody can make the jump. I know everybody's improved in the offseason. Everybody's working hard. Highlight somebody that maybe we haven't talked about who you think has that possibility of making that leap.
Mm-hmm. I would probably say Kai Carter. She has obviously you've seen her play, so you know how long she is. She has the ability to step out and shoot it. She can get to the rim well. She can finish well. So I think that she can definitely make that jump, and I think that she'll be an important piece for us this year. And just what she brings to the table. She got a little bit of experience last year, some pretty good minutes, and some good games. So I think that she'll definitely be one to keep an eye on to make that jump this year.
And John, I saw a smile by my reaction. John, who's my favorite? I have a basketball type. And my basketball type are stretch fours that can hit the long, like the mid-range jump shot, who could also absolutely put you in the blender down low. And so when you say Kai Carter, it has a potential to make that jump.
Yeah,
that's what I like to see in a basketball team. When I see that on a basketball team, I know that the other team is in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's gonna be a matchup nightmare. I think so. And so we got to see it, and obviously she was still trying to get acclimated to the offense and things of that nature. And we talked about it. We were like, once she gets the offense down and understands her openings within the system, and a lot of the time for freshmen, even though they have the talent, it's usually hard to get acclimated because you have to understand the system in order to be successful out there on the floor for your team. And so with her, she was just out there. It'd be sometimes the play would just blow up or something. She'd just go get a bucket. And that's what I liked about her. She was able to just get, she showed us out of a small, it might have been a 3-minute span where she posted up, hit a hook shot, knocked down a transition three, put the ball on the floor, gave a little ball fake or a hop step over a secondary defender and finished. And then she got a rebound where I thought her hand was at the rim. And I was like, okay, well, we got something here if she continues to develop and grow and work on herself. But I was like, she's going to be special if she stays on this path and figures out that system. And that's why I remember when she got that rebound, you looked at her and it was like, she can jump and then she can shoot the ball. She's posting up. And this was all in a situation at the beginning of the year where, you could tell she was still unsure of the offense, but she was just like, it blew up, let's go. Mm-hmm. And so she's going to be one of those players that if she can get the system down, she's going to be a matchup nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And absolutely. I it's honestly one of the things that I look for in a team to say this team's going to be hard on both ends of the floor. So, there are teams that are tough to guard, and then there are teams that are tough to score against. And it's so rare that you get a team that's both. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Let's transition a bit. As much as I like to talk about scoring and offense and things of that nature, let's talk a little bit about defense. We've seen sort of a press, sort of a speed you up / slow you down type of a high pressure defense. Is that going to continue under the new regime?
Yes. A lot of pressure, a lot of up in your face. Just main thing, a lot of pressure. We have a lot of speed. There's a lot of people who we can turn over, who we can give them some trouble up the floor. As you know, D's very fast, AC's very fast. you know, they can keep people in front and guard them the length of the court. So we're going to use that to our advantage for sure, and have those two up being the dogs that they are, trying to get us some quick steals and some quick turnovers.
Coach Wall, teaching guards defense. What's the hardest part? Is it positionally? Is it going through the technique of it? Is it just sort of understanding the big picture? What's the hardest part about teaching a guard defense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so unfortunately, as the director of operations, I won't actually be able to get out there and work with them on the court. But from learning, I would probably say just gauging someone's speed and being able to guard them based off of that. Because for myself personally, I wouldn't call myself necessarily like the quickest guard, but once you learn how to keep someone in front of you, how to move, you know, when they're going to attack, how to take your first step back and keep them in front. I think that's the biggest thing. And then obviously you want to, you know who you're guarding in general. So I think that was one of the biggest things about our practices, which kind of made them fun, is that everybody could do something different. So you might have me outside shooting, you can have Nadiria attacking, but when you're on defense, I mean, you have to be on high alert and know who you're guarding, who you're closing out to, what can they do. And I think that's the biggest thing, because when we go to scout teams, you know, we don't necessarily guard everyone the same. So I think that's just the biggest part, is knowing who you're guarding and what's the best way to guard them.
Matt, I'm going to go ahead and say this. I'm super excited about them continuing that tradition of what we called it knuck if you buck type defense. Where Nadiria, she'd pick up 94 feet. I mean, I remember one game, I mean, she stripped a girl maybe 3 times in a row. Coach had to call a timeout. Girl was on the bench, had a towel over her face, was crying. And Nadiria did the same thing to the next girl that came in for her position. So at that point, you just don't have an answer. Like, I'm sorry, it's nothing you can do about that. And so it was fun to watch, but then also Amira was also capable of picking up 94 feet. But then they would also put Amira on your primary shooter, simply because she understands like how to manipulate the screens. Like, she can blow up screens really well, people that are coming off staggers or singles. And she just knew how to guard you based on the offense. And so she's a high IQ defender as well. And so they're going to be fun to watch. I could see them throwing Faith in the mix of that, where she's able to – she also picked up – you can definitely tell, like, she's got soccer feet. You can just – she's always moving those feet at all times, and just has a high motor. And so being able to create turnovers, but not only just create turnovers and deflections, but take time off that shot clock where you're not able to get into your offensive sets until like 16 seconds left or 18 seconds left. And then you're rushing things, and that tension's on the back of your neck on top of the defensive pressure. It just creates nightmares for offensive teams that usually have to base themselves off of that offensive set. So it's gonna be beautiful to watch, and I can't wait, especially if you got Nadiria, who just, good gracious, I mean, we would say it was like, they got to call a timeout. Timeouts come. And so it's going to be a lot of those this year, I think. So I look forward to it. I really do.
2 thoughts on that. John, when I said speed you up to slow you down, explained it so much better than what my nonsense was. So thank you for that. And second off, during that timeout, the coach said to the player, "What are you doing?" And the player said, "My best." And I about lost it. She's trying, what can you do? Nadiria is good, man. Nadiria is really good and really fun to watch. And I feel a little bit for Corpening, because she's really good defensively too. And I feel like if it's not for Nadiria, we're talking about her a lot more, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coach D, who do you think is the player that you're the most excited? You think defensively is just the key, and don't say Nadiria because we've been talking about her already.
Defensively, I mean, I think you just hit it, Amira. She is so locked in on defense. Whatever it says on that scout, you know she's going to follow through with it. So that's the reason why, like John, like you said, she can get through those screens and maneuver, just because she has already put into her mind, okay, this is how I need to defend that person. So in my mind, if there's somebody who we need to stop or we need to make sure they're locked up, I'm going to vote AC just because I know she's locked in, she's focused, and also she's very physical. There's no way that you're not just going to catch the ball easily. AC is going to knock you off your track. AC is going to make sure you feel her just as much as you see her. So AC would definitely be my choice for that.
She's kind of mean.
Yeah.
I've seen it. Like, it's a nonchalant thing, like where you don't think, because she comes with this kind demeanor. But when she gets out there, she can be vicious, where I've seen girls like, try to push her. And because she's so strong, like I've seen, like, that's not going to work either. It's just, I'm not upset because you're not that strong. You're not stronger than me, but also I'm about to lock you up. That type of mentality that she has, I mean, it just, and you got Nadiria on the other end. I mean, it's going to be a nightmare for primary guards there to have to deal with those two for her.
Yeah.
I thought we were cool with that being the Bulldogs and all. No? Okay.
Yeah.
Jess, when you came back, what is it about the Bulldogs that brought you back? Was it I guess I don't want to put words in your mouth. So when you got the call, was there any hesitation, or were you just like, yes, this is where I want to be?
Definitely a no-brainer. But I mean, I could go on for a long time about reasons why I wanted to be back here. Of course, just the program, the experience I had with all my teammates. And, I still keep in contact with a lot of them now. Just because when we were here, we got so close, we had such good chemistry, we were able to do great things together. And so just coming back to the place where all of that was able to happen, as well as obviously we don't have the same coaching staff, but still, enough of them. And then Paige, like I said, I play with her. So it's just like being here with people who were a part of making me who I am, whether it was on the court with me or coaching me. And then also just the community of people here, the fans, just Asheville in general. We have such a great fan base, and it's pretty much always been the same people that are supporting you. Throughout my 4 years, I know a lot of people in the stands by name, and they know me by name too. So just coming back here to be able to be around all these people. In the office, I don't even feel like a stranger. All the men's coaches know me, will talk to me. And I used to spend a lot of time in here too. So it's like, I've been here before kind of, but just being back. And then with Coach Brown, obviously, she had a lot to do with developing me as a player. So I feel like she's been a great mentor to me, not only as a coach, but helping me in becoming a coach, I guess I should say, and wanting to go down that path. She's definitely helped me a lot. And so for her to give me this opportunity, and after what she's done for me, it was pretty much like, how can I turn that down? So definitely a no-brainer, definitely an easy yes, and I'm more than excited to be back here.
John, I think in podcasts past, we've talked about the familial feeling of the Bulldogs being one of the reasons that you stay so involved as well.
Definitely. It's that family atmosphere. Every time you step on the campus, you see a familiar face back, and I'm almost 10 years removed now, so I see those familiar faces as well that are still coming back, and so that consistency is definitely what makes you feel comfortable. But then also, even the new faces that are there, they treat you like family, and so I understand it. I get it, and that's kind of the culture that's been created, not only within individual teams, but in the athletic atmosphere in general. So yeah.
Coach D, coming into that sort of family atmosphere, is it something that takes you a few days, few weeks, few months to kind of feel a part of? Or is it something that on day one you're just like, boom, oh, I get it?
For me, day one. So when I was playing at University of Florida, the main thing that attracted me there was the family atmosphere. Clemson, obviously, I worked for my former coach, so family there. But here it's the same thing. Initially, throughout the whole process, Coach Brown was very open and honest with me. Obviously, I met with Coach Page and Coach Dre, and we kind of just clicked as soon as we talked together. And then same thing with Jess. So from the minute I got here, it just felt like a family aspect. The same thing with the players. They kind of just welcomed me with open arms, and I've loved it. And family is key for me. Being somewhere and working and being my best that I can be at what I'm doing, I have to have a relationship with you, a family one at that, because we're going to be spending a lot of time together. So very easy, open me with welcome arms, and I'm happy to be here and thankful for that aspect of it.
Coach D, if you could change one thing about your office mate.
Mm-hmm. My office, what was the last part?
The office mate, the person you're sharing the office with there.
Oh, I don't have an office mate. I have an office to myself.
You have a whole office to yourself. Well, that was a very introspective question I asked then, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So if you could change one thing about your experience in basketball to this point, what would it be?
Ooh, change one thing. Honestly, I don't know. I've had a lot of ups and downs throughout my basketball career. Obviously, I had a coaching change going into my senior year. But throughout the whole thing, I've learned so many things that I don't really think I would change anything, honestly.
Jessica, is it the same for you, or is there something you'd change?
I think it's the same for me. I mean, like she said, I mean, I've had some ups and downs, but, you know, I feel like everything happens for a reason. And I feel like, you know, I was led to Asheville in the beginning and obviously led back here now. So, you know, I feel like everything is just working out perfect.
Mm-hmm.
John, is that the same?
I love where I'm at, but for me personally, I wish I would have listened a little bit better and it took me going into my senior year for me to like trust my teammates completely, trust my coaches completely, and completely buy in. And that was the thing. And getting over your ego part for me was the tough part. And that's honestly, I thought that was the final piece to my transition as far as to me being a leader, being a captain, but then also being the best version of myself to help our team, and really committing to the role presented to me. I would definitely say just it took too long for me to completely buy in. And I think we would have had more success if I would have done that a little bit quicker. So that was one of the things I talked to a couple of my teammates about. We have a Zoom call where, you know, some of the old Bulldogs come together and we talk about, man, if we all would have just, because we saw the final picture at the end of the day. Like we saw once we won the Big South Championship, we were like, wow, this is what Coach was talking about. This is the buy-in that he's talking about. Going for something that is beyond yourself, swallowing your pride and doing what is best for the team, because we all have a common goal. And if you buy into it, there's no telling what can happen. And so for me, for the sake of more championships, I wish we would have bought in a little bit quicker. But yeah, that's me.
I wish I had practiced my free throws more. I wasn't nearly as good at basketball to be as bad as I was at free throws. So, yeah, I needed to either be a much better overall basketball player or just be better at free throws. So it seems like being better at free throws is the easier route.
Yeah, either way.
either or is fine. What we like to end out the podcast on a positive note. And one thing that John and I love to do to end out our podcast is outrageous predictions. So if everything goes right, nobody gets hurt, everything's perfect. We like to make a prediction that we think best case scenario, this can come true. John, a fantastic example of that would be
Nadiria Evans, Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh.
Okay, so you took mine. So I will one-up you by saying Nadiria Evans, Conference Player of the Year.
That's a good one.
Now you can do a team thing, or you could do like an individual thing. You could say John's wrong and it's going to be Corpening Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, that's what that would have been what I was going to say. AC Defensive Player of the Year.
Ooh. Coach Jessica, what do you think?
I think I'll go with Asheville Bulldogs conference champions.
Okay. Is that regular season or tournament or both? Why not?
Both.
There you go.
Yeah, taking it back to 2016.
Yeah, I don't know why I asked. I should have assumed both. It was silly of me, and I apologize for such an awkward and obvious question. Coach D, Coach Jessica, thank you so much for being here with us today. And Coach D, before we head out, just one thing, if you could say one thing to the fans, what would you say to them?
First of all, I would say, I know everything's crazy right now with COVID, but we still want our fans. We still want our supporters. We know that you guys love us. And obviously, we love you all. And I'm excited to be here. I'm excited for you guys to see all the hard work that we've been putting in and will put in this year. And it's going to be a great season, even though it didn't end quite the way we wanted to. It's going to be a great season. So come out, support us, and we won't disappoint. I'll tell you that much.
Coach Jessica.
First, I'll just say thank you for everything you've done to make Kimmel such an awesome place to play in. I know it was definitely a place that other teams did not want to be in to our fans. You guys are awesome. But like Coach D said, I hope you guys are back this year. And I can't wait to be back inside of Kimmel, even if it's on the sidelines. But I'm excited to have all of you there, and we look forward to a great season.
And before we wrap up, John, I mean, these two hires are fantastic, and to combine with Coach Page, I mean, the future is extremely bright for women's basketball at Asheville, is it not?
Absolutely. I think you've got a great pedigree of coaches, young, hungry coaches that are looking to, continually grow, learn, but then also share their knowledge and be able to relate and translate to the players in a way that, it's some coaches can't do. And so you're going to have a staff that is young, energetic, vibrant, and hungry. And you're going to see, and usually when you see those types of staffs, it translates or correlates to the players with their energy. And so with the style of play that they're having, it makes perfect sense. And so I can't wait to see it.
I'm excited as well, John. For the Jet, I'm Matt Stradley. We want to thank our sponsor, Ingles. Low prices, love the savings. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday 30. Coach D, Coach Jessica, best of luck with the season. And to the fans, we'll see you all next time on the Thursday 30.
Thank you. Thanks for having me today.